Welcome to the Activity Call Live. Now let's hear it for our special guest host, Alex Abuyuan.
All right, Alliance Nation, you heard all that applause. We've got 1,000 people watching this thing, and we had all their applause piped in. So appreciate that, man. Again, grateful to Andy and Jane Albright for turning the team over to me and our guests. And as I've told our guests, that everyone's financial future relies on their testimony today. So no pressure, but I'm very excited to share with you folks that exemplify the idea of mental toughness and the idea of overcoming to become. They've gone through stuff. Maybe you guys can relate to them. I know I can in so many ways, and that's why I chose them. So I want to bring up my buddy Pablo Troncoso. I brought Pablo in last year, and in about 7 months, 8 months, he earned the trip to Cabo, and he's has his third child, right, Pablo? And
yeah, that's right, man. 6 weeks old to
6 weeks. Wow, Sophia, right?
That's right. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Well, congratulations on that. So, dude, share with us. I know you've, your background and kind of what you went through in overcoming some. We hear this all the time, especially during that time in 2008 when people lost everything. And I remember you and I chatting about that just briefly. So, I'd look for you to kind of share your story about overcoming adversity and what got you through it.
Yeah, man. I really appreciate you asking, Alex, and inviting me on. It's an honor, again, to be on this call with you and, to serve at any capacity that I can to the Alliance Nation. And I want to be respectful of this topic because there might be some of you on this call that are going through it right now, right? Like what we're going to talk about is adversity that we've gone through. And some of you might be in the middle of it right now. And whatever it is, people might see the outside of you, Alex, right? Some people just see the outside of you.
Yeah.
But they have no idea what's going on the inside of you, right? And if you're in the middle of it, it is I don't work at a circus, but man, you got to know how to balance that act. And so that's kind of what I want to share about. I had a little bit of adversity throughout my life, but who's it? The great physician Luke once said, "For nothing will be impossible with God." Right. So one of the things I wanted to talk about, like you mentioned, was '08. Right. And we talk about '08 with our clients like it was no big deal, right? Like, oh, you remember '08? And they're like, oh yeah, the market crash, the housing crash. It was a big deal. It was a very big deal. At the time, I was running a small mortgage branch, had about 25 employees, and I just remember hearing, we had the news on, and I remember hearing it was September 14th, 2008, that Lehman Brothers was filing for bankruptcy, and that was really the start of the beginning. The start of the beginning of the end of what I thought was the end for me, right? And I'll never forget it. I was, most of my homes within about a year, most of my homes were up for short sale or foreclosure, right? And listen, I'm not boasting that I had homes, right? I worked at the mortgage store, so I had a lot of mortgages, right? Just like if you worked at a jeans store, you probably have a lot of jeans. If you work at the insurance store, you probably have a lot of insurance policies. I happened to work at the mortgage store. All of my homes were pretty much up for either short sale or foreclosure, with no one that renewed their leases. Man, I was going through it. My revenue had dropped to about 10% of what it was for the last 6 years running.
Wow.
And oh, by the way, for those that have clients that have ever talked about this, when we talk about like green line, red line, just a side note, you talk about adversity. So I had built up a substantial IRA, right? I even had a VUL, right? Because that's what my advisor told me I should have. And I never once got a call from him, right? About, hey, here's how we should probably help you. So just an example, I thought I was okay because I was like, you know what, Eve, I'll weather this storm because I've got, multiple six figures in this account. Well, guess what? There's this little law, at least in Maryland, that if you're going through foreclosure and you're doing a bankruptcy protection, you cannot leave the IRAs out of the picture. You actually have to liquidate that money to pay for a home that you're about to lose. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Can you believe that? And that's exactly what happened. And because I had multiple homes, I had to liquidate all that money, and they all went away. And guess what? They were all backed by mortgages that were basically helped out by big government down the road, right? They bailed out all these banks. They didn't bail me out. They bailed out the banks. So anyway, just what a nightmare, right? And by the, and the straw, I guess, the straw that broke the camel's back, right? You always kind of like try to tie it to, like, in the movie, there's a one scene. And for me, I felt like that scene came really quickly. And the straw that broke the camel back was I went to ATM. I went to the ATM machine because I was down to like my last $5,000. Okay. Excuse me. I went down to my last $5,000 and I went to go get enough money just to buy some groceries, have some expenses. This is back in the day before you paid everything with your phone, right? So I had some cash in my hand and I just wanted $500. And I'm not going to name the name of the bank, but the name of the bank that I had was also the name of the mortgage bank that I had. And so when I went to withdraw that money, it said insufficient funds. So I thought I didn't have $500. I didn't have anything anymore. Okay. By the grace of God, about a couple weeks later, I received a call from a friend of mine. And he said, Pablo, I know you're going through some things right now. He said, listen, I'm moving down to Puerto Rico to open up a new hotel. I know you probably need some time to get away from stuff. Whatever's going on through your mind, you're more than welcome to come and stay with me. I wasn't walking with the Lord back then, but looking back, I know that was him calling me. Okay. But anyway, that was kind of, like I said, the start of the beginning, it did get to a point where I did eventually get into the insurance business. But Alex, I'll pause right there. I don't know if you had any questions or how I got out of that. Yeah.
What makes someone, when you lose everything and you're standing at the ATM, here you are before all this, before the crash, you're thinking like you're king of the world. You got multiple homes, you got money, you got a big fat IRA account, life's good. And so you go from that feeling like this tremendous self-image of I'm the man to you can't even pull out money for groceries out of your ATM. Well, tell me about the self-image hit that you took there.
Oh, man. I mean, there's times where, like you said, right, we're standing on top of the mountain, but at this point, I felt like I had, fallen all the way to the bottom and crashed out and no one was around. Because that one phone call that I got was the only phone call that I got. There was no one around, right? All the friends were gone, all the, helpful neighbors, all that was gone, right? And so I didn't have a belief in anything bigger than me, right? Because I basically grew up with a bad relationship with money. I mean, come on, my stepfather was enlisted in the Navy, and making $25,000 for a family of 5. So we always said, thank God for base housing. And so the minute I got money, right, I thought I was it. And so, for me, the self-image was, I mean, I was in the deepest of depressions. There was days where, I prayed I didn't wake up, like there was no need for me to wake up and be a burden to somebody else. And by the grace of God, he didn't do that, right? He showed me a way out.
So what was your way out? Like what a friend called, how did you kind of build yourself back up to where you are today?
I had three things that I kind of, always follow by with regards to taking action. One of them I didn't find out till later, and it's actually my first one, although, chronologically it was probably number three, and that was to have faith. You got to have faith in something bigger than you, right? So whatever you believe in, have faith. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. It's so funny. My children now who know God, like way before, I ever even knew he existed, they're like reciting this now. And they say, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. And in all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths, or he will direct your ways. Right. And for me, I thought I was the only person that could direct my way, not my mom. Right? Because we didn't have money growing up. Not my stepfather, they divorced. So why would he know what to do? I thought it was me. But the second thing was surrounding myself with good people, Alex, and eliminate them otherwise. Right? And you can decide what your own, qualifications are for good people. But I would have never gotten that phone call from that one friend if I didn't have a true relationship with him over the years. And again, everyone else disappeared. So, make sure that you're surrounding yourself with the right people. But the third thing was you got to take action. You got to start you got to move. You got to go to events. You got to, it's funny. I say, I've heard this being said before that God might, walk with you and help guide you out of the valley of the shadow of death, but he will not take your butt off the couch, right? That's something that you got to do. And I was on the couch. I was in the bed. I was on the couch. Like I did not want to move. And it was literally having to get myself out, having a desire to move. And when I did make that move, for me, it was literally getting up and, moving to Puerto Rico, on my last, dollars that I was able to scrape together, for a flight. If I did not do that, there was no opportunity for a land of like the next step to happen, right? Like if I stayed where I was at, it would have been it. Like who knows what I'd be doing today, right? And so that would be kind of the three things. You got to move, right? You got to surround yourself with good people, and you got to have faith.
Absolutely, dude. As I mentioned on Wednesday, failure is not failure. Failure is an opportunity to learn. And I think going through that experience, you got to learn what it takes, right, to overcome adversity. And that just put a steel in your backbone to continue on. So you know what it feels like. Now you know what to do to get around it and get over. That's why I'm so confident that you're tearing it up. And, this year, 2025 is going to be a great one for you, dude. So I appreciate you, man. Thanks for sharing your story.
Appreciate you, man. And thanks for being a part of each one of those steps I talked about. You represent them well. And it's an honor to work with you, brother.
I appreciate that, man. Awesome. Give Sophia a big hug and kiss for me. All right. Next guest. I got to know Sabrina and Marty when I was doing hotspot meetings in Orlando. And they were just really starting to get their business off the ground. It was really great because they always had excellent questions for me. And they have, an awesome upline anyway. But I was very humbled that, that they were willing to ask me questions and, some really great questions. I mean, I was like, wow, these people know what they're talking about, and they really were asking the right questions. And I couldn't have been more impressed. And as I saw them rise up through the ranks last year, it was like, maybe it was something I said, but I wasn't taking any credit by all means. But, I really couldn't be more proud of y'all. And when I saw you guys up on stage in NatCon, it was, I remember back to when you guys were asking me questions in Orlando, and it was like, wow, when you actually do what we recommend, right? And you get around the people, and you hang out at meetings, and you put the work in, like it works. So tell us about your story. Like what did y'all go through? And, it's, it's very unique to have a mother-daughter build this thing together, and that's what I've been really impressed with. It's y'all could work together, and I've seen such a transformation, particularly in you, Sabrina. I just couldn't be more impressed with your transformation and what you've done, going to school for nursing, I think, right?
Yeah.
And then accomplishing that, but then still continuing in the business. I mean, it's incredible. So, let her rip. Tell us what types of things that you guys had to overcome to become.
Thanks for having us on, Alex. And we were totally appreciative when we got the call that you wanted us to speak with you. And I was like, wow. So thank you.
You're welcome.
When you asked us to talk about perseverance, right? I looked up the word. And the word was persistence in doing something despite difficulty or delay in achieving success. And I figured, I guess, we have persevered for sure. And we have our story, but more importantly is, I think what everybody thinks while they're sitting in those seats in the audience is, wow, look at those people up on stage. Like they got hit with the good luck fairy and they just showed up there. And the most prominent thing that I ever took away from an event was our first event, when I realized everybody on the panel, all the board members, everybody higher up, I was like, wow, they were all broken, busted too. Nobody just showed up there. And I think that's important to get across before going into like what we had to incur, because everybody has to endure and incur, right? The only difference between the people on that stage and Sabrina and I and Pablo and everybody else is that we persevered and we didn't quit. Most people just give up and quit, and you can't succeed when you quit. So you're right. Sabrina and I have a super close relationship. A lot of people don't understand that relationship because they don't understand where we came from. That literally, when about Sabrina was 16 years old, our life fell apart. We were getting a divorce. My marriage, her father, very abusive. I finally was getting a divorce. My mom died that year. We lost our business, our house, our best friends, all of our extended family, my home, everything. We had nobody. It was just the two of us. Well, I have another daughter, but she was not living with us at the time. So she was more out of the picture. So it was Sabrina and I lifting me off we always joke, do you need the closet? Because that's where I used to go to cry. Okay.
Wow.
So we lost everything, and we had to start over. Just the two of us. I had no idea what to do. My mom had died, like I said, but I wasn't able to work because I was not paying alimony to my ex-husband. So we spent all that. We sold the house. We bought an RV, moved into that, 5 dogs. I think at that point it was 4 dogs.
Wow.
And 2 of us in an RV.
And a bird.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
When Pablo was saying he had 5,000 in the bank, which he didn't think, we literally had nothing. We had credit cards on the table trying to
do the floors and the carpet and everything
so we could sell a house. Okay. Wow. And then the sale almost didn't go through, and they called to say it wasn't going through. And we're like, oh my God, like, what are we going to do now? We have no money. We have an RV to add to the boot and our house, but all that went through. So we had to really get going, and it's really hard when you're in that situation and people are telling you to invest more and spend more. And you're literally like, where, how? And that's where our house came into play. Like, okay, let's just get out from under our house. And my house was paid off. So it gave us the income to be able to buy the leads, to set up our office, and everything like that. And we had to start something new. A little bit before that, I somehow got into insurance before Jason found me.
Oh, really?
Jason didn't give up on me, and I was with a really bad company. We don't have to name them. And he finally convinced me to move forward and work with the Alliance. My daughter used to say to me, well, what's the other option? Going to work for $15 an hour at Starbucks? And I'm like, oh my God, I really have to make this work. So we were having family reunion in Burlington. And I begged Sabrina to go with me, that I didn't want to go alone. I just didn't want to do it. I was scared. Just go with me. I don't care what you do there. Do your schoolwork, sit in the thing. There's food included. So I bought you your ticket. Just come with me. And thank God she did, because that really changed our entire life. So I'll let her tell a little bit of the story, but she came with me. And by the time we left, we're driving home. And all of a sudden she turns to me and she says, I think I can do this. And I literally turned to her and said, do what? And she said, insurance. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't even know you were listening. So she came back and decided. I made her graduate school because she got so far in her nursing degree. I didn't want her to ever look back and think that she fell short. And we're not quitters. So finish your degree. And she started working part-time, and we decided we were going to build this business.
Well, I'm not sure if you mentioned that actually. You bought my ticket, but I had to pay for the hotel and all the other travel right on my credit cards.
I didn't have any money. I was so broke. And talk about keeping up appearances, nobody knew.
Wow.
As far as they knew, I bought an RV because I thought it would be fun. They didn't know we were absolutely broke. And I have downlines to this day that they're like, did that really happen? And I'm like, yeah, well, you didn't tell us. I'm like, well, how could I tell you that?
Yeah.
I'm trying to, the system works. I know it works. And like Pablo said, you have to have faith. You have to have faith. You have to just jump in. And I knew Andy was successful, right? Nobody can deny that. Jason's successful. Those are the two people I'm talking to. Who am I to say that's not going to work?
Yeah.
But as a matter of fact, I did. Because Jason's like, I was making, it's the biggest joke, I was making 67 dials and thought it was full time. And I said, it doesn't work, Jason. This doesn't work. And I said, you know what? I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to do exactly what you say and show you this doesn't work. And lo and behold, it works.
Wow.
But from there, it wasn't easy either. Right? So from there, there's ups, there's downs. I mean, you have to endure and keep going through. Nobody gets from point A to point B without any adversity.
And things weren't smooth sailing even after we sold the house, bought an RV, and then bought another house. I mean, we ran out of money again. So,
Oh, wow.
I mean, you try to invest. It's a game of investing as much as you can in your business, but also, you can't break the bank. But we're very good at trying to invest almost everything we can back into our business. If that's through the estate planning, if that's through, we were doing Medicare, Medicare leads, the alliance leads, like we were just doing everything. We do like the life insurance, Medicare, recruiting, we invest a lot into, and just really doing everything. And I think that's what has made us successful of doing everything, sell, recruit, and build. We don't focus on one thing.
Yeah, that's one thing that I definitely have been tracking you on, and as you're building your team. The one thing that we talk about all the time is you need to be a copy worth duplicating, right? And you guys have been doing everything right, and you're building a team of people that are doing things right. Probably the most important one is you're overcomers. You have persevered. Imagine modeling that for your team, and they follow your example of perseverance. So, man, that's awesome story. And you guys were recognized on stage. Tell us at NatCon, what was the award?
Yes, we were number 10 in annuity sales, as well as number 10 in recruiting. And I believe we were very close to number 10 in producing as well, but you don't get on stage for number 11.
Yeah.
So,
And that's rocking. I mean, geez, had being in multiple categories, and then you started the estate planning program, right, this year?
yeah. Again, you have to have faith, right? So Andy brought this new system to the Alliance. Now, you have to have a lot of faith, because this is not only a big investment, because you have to put money out and pay for the seminars and outlay that until you start seeing results. But we decided we were going to do it, and we did it. And we do that actually with Daniel Dana and Robin Paw. And we decided, well, we're going to do this. We're all, broken, busted. Let's put our money together and let's see if we can make this work. And let me tell you, I've never been part of a more fantastic team. I have run and owned businesses my entire life, and it's so cohesive because each member of us brings something the other does not. We have two beavers, which is perfect because I am no beaver. Okay, so Danny and Sabrina keep us organized. Robin and I handle a lot of the selling and the talking to people. And it just has been working so awesome that I can't begin to tell you. I mean, it's been a saving grace. But that too, at the beginning, it's not like you have a seminar and all of a sudden the money starts rolling in. Right? So we're doing a phenomenal job. You probably saw, you saw Robin, Paul, Caroline, Paul, Danny, us all up on the stage, in sequential order.
Yeah.
But you don't see, what people don't know is that when we do that, we split everything.
Yeah.
So all of our numbers is really only a third.
Wow, that's crazy.
Number is really only a third.
That's awesome.
Danny's number is only a third. So if you put that together, that's highly successful. We're making it up there on a third.
For sure.
But
that's
why
great.
fix what's not broken, right?
Right. That's awesome. When I think about that, the power of community, the power of a team, how can you fail when you got everyone rowing in the same direction, right? And you pick each other up, you use your strengths where they work. And I think that's the power of you guys putting it together. Isn't it hard to go out alone? Like, I can't imagine anyone trying to do this alone. And I think what's great about what you've done is you've shown how you can work as a mother-daughter team and then build another team that has been able to accomplish what you've been able to accomplish. That's rocking.
It's not easy. I said that we should do I messaged Tia that I think we should do a talk about that at one of the conferences, because a lot of people bring on their kids or trying to bring on their kids. I have one daughter that I'm trying desperately to get involved, and she just is not motivated by it. Meanwhile, she sees how Sabrina and I are succeeding.
Yeah.
Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I would be where I am today and the growth that we expect for next year.
Yeah.
The other day, Jared and Rachel were over and we're talking about, how we do our seminars and all that stuff. And we were walking down the hallway at our office and Sabrina was in front of me. And I turned to Rachel. I said, see, this is what I was talking about. Look what I have done for my daughter. Look what I have created for my daughter. I said, this really isn't as much for me. I'm already in my late 50s. I'll be around for a little while, but look what I created. I didn't leave her a life insurance policy. She is I do have life insurance, but she is a successful businesswoman with a thriving business, making more money than more people make in a year or 2 years. She's making in a month.
Yeah.
Amazing. I think it's amazing that we do that. And I think it should be addressed, but it's tricky. I don't know why I can't get my other daughter going.
Yeah. It's one of those things, right? Your kids, they look at you, they kind of take you for granted at some level, and, they have to see it from someone else. And then again, our business is not for everybody.
No. So, I tried. I brought her to ConnectCon and what was the last one?
It wasn't Breakthrough. National Boot Camp.
National Boot Camp. I brought her. I figured that might work like it worked with Sabrina. It did a little.
But the great thing with this business is it's everything, every aspect of your life. You're going to, if you stick with it and you listen to the coaching, not even on a business professional level, but you were talking about my success outside of the business of losing 110 pounds, getting my teeth straight, just taking care of myself better. I wouldn't have been able to do that if I wasn't being drilled into my head like, you deserve more. You are beautiful, you are this, and, create that for yourself. It was always in my control to do that.
Yeah, it's amazing. And like, you look fantastic on stage, by the way. I mean, I meant to tell you right there. I did text you, but
It was actually a hidden secret. I was very sick when I was there
you
too.
were, oh my gosh. I
She
would
spent the
never,
whole weekend in the hotel room and only came out because she was going to drag her dead body across that stage for those awards.
I persevered. I got a IV with fluids in it.
oh my gosh.
So sick.
Hey, well, if you didn't wear that dress, you probably would have just like, I mean, you look great. And you said something very powerful there, and I want to amplify it. You felt like you deserved better. Your self-image, what happened was your self-image grew because of what you accomplished in the business. And when your self-image grows, it will reflect in your outward image to other people. And it happens. It's amazing how it happens. But when the insides change, the outside will change, right? Mm-hmm. But it has to start inside. So
yeah, but people have to know that everybody has those things inside of them. Everybody. Nobody just wakes up one morning and they're there. And It's scary. It's scary for everybody. I mean, here we started estate planning at the very beginning. There was no proven results. Right. There was nothing. We didn't know practically what to do beyond seeing Scott Garcia do it. And as Belle says all the time, it's like we paved the road. We got smacked in the face. We fell down. We got up. We failed miserably. But we stuck with it and built something just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And anybody can do it. And it's not less scary. If you need to get a teammate, get a teammate.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you need to do. But it does work. I'm proof. I show everybody like what we're doing and our numbers. Like, here's the proof. You want to do it? You don't want to do it. That's up to you. But I can tell you now that it works. We had to do it and we didn't even know it worked.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you for being guests on here. I think you've inspired a lot of people to understand that it is within their own power to take advantage of this incredible opportunity. And you guys are excellent examples. So thanks for being on the call.
Appreciate thanks for having us. I need to dispel two misconceptions, though. One, Sabrina and I do separate and do have separate lives. People say we always see you together. Okay, that's because we do work together and live together, but we have separate lives. And the other thing is we do have arguments. We do have a mother-daughter relationship. Okay, it's not perfect.
That's
we
great.
Work together and endure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Well, I was going to bring, thank you. I was going to bring my other buddy on, but we had actually pre-recorded a thing, but we're kind of running out of time. So maybe I'll bring Aaron Walker back up. Aaron has a great story of, where he joined us last year ago, and overcame some stuff in his head to move forward. And thank God he always was talking to Mike Leventovich to move on. But I want to get into what I really want to jump into a little bit deeper on. How do you develop mental toughness? How do you develop that ability to withstand adversity in your life? And for me, what I've figured out was it's so hard to deal emotionally with everything that comes at you. I love what Andy and Jane says all the time. They say, you're either getting out of something, you're getting ready to go in something, or you're in something. In other words, you're always going to be dealing with adversity. You're always going to be dealing with challenges. Question is, what are you going to do about it, and how do you react? And what I found is to keep the emotional roller coaster in check was the power of creating habits. When you can create a habit that is a successful habit, all of a sudden you're not thinking about what you're doing, and it doesn't become emotional. In fact, we have this saying in our business, the power of constancy, the power of consistency will yield emotional stability, which speaks to the habit forming. So you create success. Whoa. I just lost hold on.
We can still hear you, Alex.
Okay. I gotta figure out where. Okay. Yeah, you've got the PowerPoint up, right? Okay, so
No, sir. I have a blank screen. I see nothing.
hold on.
But I hear
Let
you.
me share.
Fine.
Let me share it. Okay, you see it now?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, cool. All right. I just kicked out my camera. But anyway, so the power of habit forming allows you to create emotional stability in what you're accomplishing and what you're doing. And so I'm going to talk about the 4 habits of success and why that is going to help you create stability in what you're trying to accomplish. Okay. Now, Professor Angela Duckworth wrote a book called Grit. And this book's a great book. In fact, there's a assessment in there that you can take to measure your grit. And basically the premise of her book is she wanted to measure, one of the studies she did was West Point, and how the cadets that made it versus the cadets that did not make it, right? And the cadets that made it exhibited what she calls grit. And the definition of grit is the ability to continue the passionate pursuit of a long-term goal and not quitting. And so she measured the cadets that made it, and they all exhibited a very common characteristics. And so she measured it, and now she puts it in this book and explains it. It's an incredible book. So I'd recommend you get this book and measure yourself on the grit scale. Now, grit is something that can be developed over time. So whatever your score is, you can increase it. But this will give you definitely an indication of how people can make it through something tough on a long-term goal, right? So let's listen to her.
What if doing well in school and in life depends on much more than your ability to learn quickly and easily? I started studying kids and adults in all kinds of super challenging settings. And in every study, my question was, who is successful here and why? My research team and I went to West Point Military Academy. We tried to predict which cadets would stay in military training and which would drop out. We went to the National Spelling Bee and tried to predict which children would advance farthest in competition. We partnered with private companies asking which of these salespeople is going to keep their jobs and who's going to earn the most money. In all those very different contexts, one characteristic emerged as a significant predictor of success. And it wasn't social intelligence, it wasn't good looks, physical health, and it wasn't IQ. It was grit. Grit is passion and perseverance for very long-term goals. Grit is having stamina. Grit is sticking with your future, day in, day out, not just for the week, not just for the month, but for years, and working really hard to make that future a reality. A few years ago, I started studying grit in the Chicago public schools. I asked thousands of high school juniors to take grit questionnaires, and then waited around more than a year to see who would graduate. Turns out that grittier kids were significantly more likely to graduate, even when I matched them on every characteristic I could measure. Things like family income, standardized achievement test scores, even how safe kids felt when they were at school. So it's not just at West Point or the National Spelling Bee that grit matters, it's also in school, especially for kids at risk for dropping out. Every day, parents and teachers ask me, how do I build grit in kids? So far, the best idea I've heard about building grit in kids is something called growth mindset. This is an idea developed at Stanford University by Carol Dweck, and it is the belief that the ability to learn is not fixed, that it can change with your effort. Dr. Dweck has shown that when kids read and learn about the brain and how it changes and grows in response to challenge, they're much more likely to persevere when they fail because they don't believe that failure is a permanent condition. So growth mindset is a great idea for building grit, but we need more. We need to take our best ideas, our strongest intuitions, and we need to test them We need to measure whether we've been successful, and we have to be willing to fail, to be wrong, to start over again with lessons learned.
So let's go into the 4 habits that has helped me. Number 1, being a good listener. Now, here's the key. There's one thing about being a good listener. That's another thing is, who are you listening to, right? Who are you listening to? So find out who you're talking to in this business. We recommend your growing up line. We recommend mentors who are where in life you want to be, because listen to them and their recommendations. Don't listen to hallway conversations at an event or at a hotspot meeting of people who think they know how this business ought to work. You could believe how many people I've talked to that are brand new. It's like, why do you guys do it like this? You should do it like this. And I'm going, dude, seriously? You're the one that's broke, wanting an opportunity in this business, and you're telling me how we should run it? Like, we're open to suggestions, but why don't you do 20, 30,000 a month for a few months, and then we'll start listening to you, right? So success really speaks volumes. So, being a good listener. James 1:19. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Wow, what great advice, right? Be a good listener. Develop the habit of being a good listener, actively listening, and then putting into practice the things that you learn. So it's one thing to listen, but the next thing is to do with the information that you received. The next one is obvious, work, right? You got to put it into work. Commitment to the continuity of work will yield emotional stability. So what do I mean by work? Work is doing the income-producing activities on a consistent basis over time. I love stories like Olga's. She did like 700 dials a week until she started booking appointments. She just was dumb or smart enough just to listen to what people told her to do. And she just kept dialing the phone and getting coaching and dialing the phone. Now, she's an incredible producer, 20, 30,000 a month. When she was in the field full time, but starting out, just working her guts out. But consistent work over time is what will yield the emotional stability of success in this business. You have to commit to work. I was talking to an agent yesterday, and I said, what's the interesting thing about this business is that you get into a business where you're independent, enjoying the benefits independent, but then you got the independence to slack off and do nothing, right? But if you treat this business like your job, where you have to clock in every day, you got to hit that time card, and you got to work, and then you go home, you clock out. If you treated your business like you treated your job, imagine what great things you would do. And that speaks to the discipline. Now, that's the idea, right? Discipline in work. You can either discipline yourself and enjoy the fruits of this business, income and control, or you could be disciplined by a boss. It's your choice. You're going to be disciplined by somebody. Who do you want it to be? Right? I always say this. If you were your own employee, would you fire yourself? When you do 67 dials in a week and you say you're full-time, would you fire yourself? Right? That wouldn't be acceptable for any business owner. So you have to be able to work. Colossians 3:23, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters. The one thing in my life and my business that I've learned is that when I've dedicated my work to the Lord, because it's for Him and to serve others for Him, everything falls into place. But when I try to think about my work as making money by selling other people, it doesn't seem to work as well for me. Like, I'm just speaking for myself. But when I know that I'm going out there to serve others, and the more people I serve, it's amazing how my income takes care of itself. But then I'm doing it, and I know the Lord's watching me serve His people. right? And I think, and he sees me going out and I'm making the attempt to drive an hour to meet with someone and I get no-showed. You know what he says? He goes, well done, good and faithful servant. You went out to go serve someone, even though they didn't show up. You were willing to do what I wanted you to do. Do you think that he wouldn't bless you? You went out and did what you were supposed to do, and you did it consistently every day. And all of a sudden, you start getting this feeling of empowerment, this feeling of stability in all the things that you do. So the second thing is developing the work habit. The next one is the power of association. Here's the thing about grit. The thing about perseverance is it is the doing the work over time, believing that the results will happen, right? It's the belief in faith. You put faith in, right? But in order to continue to put faith in what you're doing, you got to believe. You have to believe. Nothing can shake your tree for the one that truly believes. Now, how do you work on that belief? You work on your belief by community, by associating with people that have belief. You get around people that are successful, you will be successful. You make the decisions that successful people make, and you will be successful as well. But the most important thing is when you hang around successful people, your belief continues to be edified, and that will help you continue to apply faith and the work to sustain adversity. Right? You've heard these stories with Marnie and Sabrina and Pablo, and there's a million of them out there in the Alliance. And you get around those folks, you know that you can do it too. You will believe you can do it too. And that's the key to perseverance, is believing you can do it. Association, being in a community of people that care about you. And this is why we emphasize getting around the people, going to events. You know what's amazing is we recommend going to events. Why? Because it's going to help you. It helped me make the kind of money I'm making and be in a position where I'm at. It helped Sabrina and Marnie going to events. Pablo, you talk to any top leaders in this business, and they're going to say that the key to their success, one of the keys, is going to events, going to hotspot meetings. Why? Because it kept them in the business. It kept them in for another day, another week, another month, another quarter, another year, to continue to do what they're doing in order to become successful, right? But people will make bad decisions. And what's amazing to me is that that decision is yours. You can make a bad decision, and that bad decision will compound. That's the bad thing about making a bad decision. Or you can make the right decision and do what it is we recommend, but it's totally up to you. We recommend making more of the right decisions, because where you are today, you are a sum of all the decisions you've made in your life. You are the sum of all the people you've hung around and the books you've read that cause you to make those good decisions or bad decisions. So the money you have in your bank account, where you are in your life, the home that you own, the family that you have, the relationships that you have are based on those bad and good decisions. So I ask you, do you think that you'd rather make more better decisions than bad ones? If that's the case, then you need to get your ticket to the next event, Stage 2 Success, because if you make a bad decision by not going, geez, I just can't tell you what a dumb thing that is. And the reason why you don't go are all the reasons why you should go. You don't have money, that's the reason you should go. You don't have time, that's the reason you should go. Those are typically the only two. I don't know if it really helped me. That's the reason why you need to go. I love when people say, Alex, I'm just going to stay back here and help and make you money by producing. It's like, dude, do you know how much more money you will make? I will make plenty of money by my efforts. I don't need you to make me money. I need you to make you money. And by you making money, everything becomes great. But if you don't go to the event, I can't guarantee anything, man. You probably won't even be around by the next event, right? Power of association. Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. 1 John 1:7, but if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another. And the blood of Jesus, his son, purifies us from all sin. Change. You got to be open to change, gang. Here's the beautiful thing about how the brain works is when you start going out your comfort zone, you start developing these habits that you don't already have. When you start developing the habit, what happens is your brain will create neural pathways of that action that's been successful. And then it starts wrapping this thing called myelin around it. So that neural pathway becomes automatic. For example, when you drove to the store, when you drove to work, did you think about every decision you made to move that steering wheel, to make a left turn, right turn, to put your foot on the accelerator, to brake when it's a red light? Do you even remember doing those decisions? You didn't, did you? Because all those decisions were automatic, like breathing is automatic. You just do it out of habit. You don't think about what you did, you just did it. That's the power of habits. The myelin starts working into those neural pathways. Now, here's the thing. The older you get, the harder it is to construct those neural pathways and for the myelin to work around. That's why we like to bring people in early in their lives, because their brains aren't fully formed when they're in their 20s. And they have a chance to create neural pathways and myelin to wrap around it. They've got a longer opportunity to do that, and their brains are fresher. Now, that's not saying I would never hire old people. I was 39 when I got in this business, right? It just takes more for us that are older to break the old habits of neural pathways and to create new ones. You just got to work harder at it, right? But you got to be open to change. Change is not fun. Change is hard. You have to be open to change. Otherwise, you will never change the trajectory of your life, right? What you got to change is what you're doing every day to make things happen. 2 Peter 3:18, grow in the grace and knowledge of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, highlighting the continuous nature of spiritual growth. Be open to change, man. I'm giving you the fifth one, the fifth bonus for me, prayer. The prayer habit, being in constant communication with my God in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, and before I go to bed. There are like 4 times a day that I pray. And then throughout the day, I pray before I do an interview. I pray after I talk to an agent, counseling them, praying that the words aren't my words, but they're the Lord's words that penetrate their heart and that they will act on it. I pray for the seed I'm planting, right? Because that seed could grow into something great. Why not fertilize it with your prayer, right? Your prayer over that agent, your prayer over that group, your prayer over people that are struggling, that need your prayers. And you know what? You think it's for them, but you know what? It's more for you. You benefit as much as they do from your prayer because you're constantly talking to God, right? And he knows what you need, but he wants to hear from you. How can you not create a relationship with someone without communicating with them? And that has been my key, is creating a prayer life that's unstoppable. Satan and the enemy cannot thwart. The gates of hell cannot prevail because I'm in constant prayer. I'm praying unceasingly. Philippians 4:6-7. Pray about everything. Do not be anxious about anything, but in everything by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. This is the fifth habit of creating emotional stability and mental toughness in your life.
Everything you're going through is preparing you for what you ask God for. You just got to quit tripping while you're in the process, because the process is necessary. You may not see it now, but when he gets you on the other side of it, you're going to see exactly why it went that way. And you're going to be okay with it. But quit tripping during the process. Oh, Lord, why me? You ain't the only one. Oh, Lord, why me? You ain't the only one. Oh, Lord, why I lose my job? You ain't the only one unemployed. Oh, Lord, why he leave me? You ain't the first chick got left. This might not even be your last time getting left. Pull yourself together and quit tripping because you in the process. God is processing you. He ain't through with you. If he was through with you, you would not wake up in the morning. He gonna fix it. Everything is wrong. First of all, let me tell you this right here. Why are you tripping? I look back on my life at all that I've been through. So the stuff I'm currently going through, I have built up enough reservoir that living in the car taught me that this ain't it. So the things I'm going through now, I know this ain't it. That he gonna come get me in a minute. So all I gotta do is sit tight. I ain't in a bad place. Now I ain't where I wanna be, but the spot I'm in is better than where I was. I ain't homeless. So what I'm going through right now, y'all don't know, I got some challenges. People think when you get famous or rich that your problems is over. Oh, they got a whole new set of them for you. They got some stuff you ain't seen. Biggie wrote a song said one time, more money, more problems. I got to tell you something, that boy wasn't never lying. But I'll tell you the truth right now. The problems I got right now, I take them. Because the problems I had when I was homeless, I don't want them no more. See, money gonna change your life a little bit, folks. All of you gonna get more, but you gotta ask for it. It's like this young lady said, I said, you have not because you ask not. Listen to me. The Bible says you have not because you ask not. It didn't say you have not because you don't make enough. It didn't say you have not because your credit ain't straight. It simply say you have not because you ask not. But you don't ask because you ain't got that together. When you ask God for something, quit tripping. He got it from here. Well, Lord, if I could just stay with him a little bit longer. Maybe you don't need him. Maybe he the reason you ain't got nothing now. Well, I don't want to leave him because I've been with him 8 years. Well, hold up. Whoa. You want 8 more years of this? Let his monkey ass go. But now, God can't give you what you want because you want to hold on to what you got. You all in the way. Now you telling him how to bless you. You can't tell God how to bless you. It's a simple process. The only reason I'm telling you this, because this is how I made it. I just do me. I'm just being me. I stay uniquely who I am because you are okay just the way you are, because God made you uniquely who you are. He wanted you to be just like you are. I mean, really, man, if you look at life and just step outside for a minute and quit tripping, it really ain't no problem. That God I serve that done this for me, he'll do the same thing for you.
Prayer. You know what's interesting thing about prayer is that people think they pray for things. Lord, I need to make district manager. Lord, I need to make senior board member. Lord, I need to make partner. Lord, I want this. I want to make this much money. It's like, yeah, come on, man. Like Steve Harvey says, how dare you tell God how to bless you? You know what I pray for? Lord, help me be the best version of myself so I can bless others, so that I can help others realize their potential, their God-given potential in them to be the best they can be. May they follow your will. Lord, help me be the best I can be to help them. Lord, I'm praying for my agents that they listen. They listen to you, not me. They listen to the words come out of my mouth, that my words come out of my mouth is your words, not my own. Don't let me mess this up, Lord. Don't let me cloud your word that they need to hear with my own junk, right? Do not tell God how to bless you. He knows what you need. Pray to surrender. Surrender to his will. He wants the best for you. If your son asks for bread, will you give him a snake? Oh man, your Heavenly Father wants to give you the best. Pray that you're open to the blessings and that you become the person that he wants you to be. The dream for you is his dream for you is to be the best version of yourself, that you can share his love with others, right? Our job here on earth is to know God, love God, and serve God. Our job here is to love him with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love each other as we love ourselves. We put that into practice. We pray to do the best we can at those. He will bless you abundantly, more than you could even understand. It's 11 o'clock. Lord, help us, help the Alliance know you, love you, and serve you. Help these words penetrate their hearts, O Lord, that they may be the best they can be for their clients, for their agents. And Lord, please attract other agents that believe that this is a business that can help them profoundly in their lives, both emotionally, spiritually, in their relationships, and financially, Lord. Bless the Alliance, Lord. We know your hands on the Alliance. We know your hands on Andy and Jane Albright. We know that we're going to go out there. We are going to dominate the world for your glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thanks, Alliance Nation. Rock on. Thanks you for letting me pray over you. God bless. Take care. See you.